All right, guys. So here we are with another episode of the Scale Labs RC podcast, episode two. We're coming at you today. We're coming at you live from Bloomington, Illinois. So the man, the myth, the legend, the Mister PT's RC Raceway, Tom Thoennes. How we doing, Tom?
Good, Sam. Thanks for having me on here. This is awesome. Pretty cool thing. It's neat having this stuff going around. It's fun for everybody. So appreciate you doing this stuff and keep it up. It's cool.
Yeah, cool, man. No, I appreciate it. It's one of those things. It's you just never. I didn't see anybody else doing stuff like this, especially for the oval side. We kind of get a little bit of everything from the off-road guys, but the oval stuff just didn't have much. So I'm not very good at this stuff. I hate being on camera. I hate doing most of it, but I kind of get myself. It's a good thing to get me out of my little comfort zone, and as well as it's so important to tell the stories of our hobby. I think so. That's what I enjoy.
And ovals, it's just as getting just as big as the off-road side of things these days. So I mean, it's really kind of taken more traction than it ever has before. So it's definitely cool to see stuff like this. It really helps the sport. I think makes people have more fun this way because that's what it's all about. So, but
Yeah, no, and absolutely, and that's one thing that I always find super interesting is because, like me personally, I want to call it a sport as well, and I think people from the outside look at it and they kind of laugh if somebody calls it a sport, but it's so important again to tell these stories and tell what we're doing and how we're doing it because yeah, it's a hobby, but you know what, it's at the end of the day, we're having fun. It's grown men playing with toy cars. But at the other side of the spectrum, this is about as if it's not a sport, this is about as close as you can get without it being sport, I think.
it most definitely, everybody shows up. We want to hang out with our friends, have a good time, as any sport or hobby, whatever is consistent. But these cars are so technically advanced. There's so much you can do to them, so many things like that. I mean, it's coming from a big car era to this. There's as many adjustments on these toy cars. We call them toy cars, but they're little speed plants. I mean, you look at scale speed, we're going over 300 miles an hour with an RC car in scale. So, and it's impressive what they do. So, and seeing this younger generation kind of get into the mix of it is awesome too. So, obviously they can react faster than us old timers can. So, but it's fun. It's definitely going in a good direction with everything, building a good head of steam, I think, for the dirt oval community. So.
Absolutely. And it's funny you bring up the big car stuff. That's one of my first notes here that I have written down is, you are a guy who has come from the big car side of things.
Yeah.
And funny enough, at your track a couple weeks ago now, I was talking with Spencer Dirks, another big car guy, and he was asking me about some setup stuff and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, Spencer, you got to think about it, dude. On your car, on your big car, if you move something an eighth inch, a quarter of an inch, that's a huge swing. Now move that down to tenth. We're at 1/10 the scale of that, and we're trying to move things, and you're gonna feel it, dude. And he's like, as soon as I said that, it was like a bomb went off in his head. He was like, "Oh man, you're right." Like, so it's funny that just bringing it all together, how you say that, because it's 100. You're 100% right. The scale is wild.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is. You can cross relate a lot of things from big cars to little cars, but then again, they are different. I mean, but, um, the every aspect of what we do with these dirt oval RC cars is no different than what a big team does with a full set sized car. You got your preparation, your maintenance, your setups, and every driver's different. So, that's the big thing is you got to set up for your driving style, and you may be a little bit different than this fellow over here, so but it's just as uh, entailed as the big car side of things. I mean, as far as what you do day in day out to tune and prep these cars. So I know I take it seriously, and I know 90% of the people that come in here take it just as serious. So but but then we have our fun too. That's part of the camaraderie with everybody as well. So
Right. No, absolutely. going into, we're talking about working on our cars and everything, and I'm sure people, 90% of the people listening to this are working on their cars right now while they're listening. But so talk to me more from the track owner side of things. What as much as goes into working on your personal cars that you like to race, and we see you outside of PTs at other tracks as well racing. But take us inside of PTs. How much time, energy, preparations going into that track on a weekly basis, especially in the wintertime?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of people take track owners for granted on that side of things because it doesn't matter if you're indoors, outdoors. The time it takes people, and you're going to learn a lot here soon with you're jumping into that bandwagon as far as the track preps and stuff. You'll learn firsthand. Honestly, in here prior to this year, I bought a new machine that really makes my life a lot easier for track prep this year. Wish I had done that a long time ago, but hindsight's 2020. But I literally work on the track 3 to 4 nights a week during the week, and a lot of people think, oh, they're in there practicing. It's not that way. I mean, there's so much track prep, and then running the track in to be raceable. Typically, what I do, typically on Sunday after a race, like I'll typically come in here. I rip the track. I let it sit for a day because it's got to dry out. Believe it or not, it's got quite a bit of moisture underneath. And then kind of going to rolling into Monday night when I stay, but I usually stay right after work and I spend 3-4 hours on the track. I'll till it again, drag it, kind of rework the shape a little bit. And then I will typically put some water back in the track, let it set the next day. I'll kind of, in the morning when I get here that next following day, I'll put a little more moisture on it. And then I wind up tilling it again. I'm just basically indoors. You got to get the moisture down into the ground, into the soil to work it. And then roll it in. Once I get it rolled in and I'm happy with the shape and everything, then it's pretty much just watering it and kind of maintaining it till race day. So, but I probably spend more time than most, I think, on a track. With the shape of our track, it's hard to, you don't just till it and go. I've got to drag it, reshape it a little bit. And I do try to push the guys in here. I'm sure some of them would like to whack me upside the head with a stick sometimes, but I do change the track quite a bit. Little changes to where you got to drive different on the bottom, middle, or top. It keeps everybody sharp and on edge, So, but that's a typical work week for me. It's usually 3-4 nights a week doing the track. So, it's not all night long typically, but I'm usually here 2-3 hours in the evenings working on this thing, getting it ready to go for race day. Part of the reason why we backed off our schedule a little bit, I mean, it's a lot of work, and when you're doing this stuff for an older guy, it kind of wears you out a little bit. So kind of mellow the schedule a bit. It helps me a lot, so it gets me more to having a better track surface, I think, for each race as well. So, but
Absolutely. So when you talk about, you use the term reshape it a couple times while you were just describing there, and I'm sure when a lot of people look at your racetrack, there's a wall basically all the way around it except for the pit entrance, pit exit. So help us and everybody listening understand a little bit when you say reshape it. What are you looking for? What are you trying to do there, and what are you after when you say reshape it?
well, so on a on an when me and my brother started this track, we wanted a track that was not just a flat track. We wanted shape to it, character to the track. We wanted to be able to run multiple grooves on a track. And there's some nights where we don't run full, top, middle, bottom. There's nights that it's full blown top, middle, bottom. But our track is, typically a little reverse camber on the bottom. It flattens out and then it does a cup to the bank. And that's kind of what keeps the competitiveness of the track. If you put a little more reverse camber on the bottom, you can slow that bottom down a tick. But that's the whole key, is getting the bottom, middle, and top to flow to where your lap times are very consistent from top to bottom. So reshaping it may be Adding a little more off camber in turns 3 and 4 this week, to where when a guy runs in full tilt on the bottom, it's a little bit of a reverse bank on the bottom, and he'll shove the nose a little bit, and that's going to slow him down, make him change his driving line a little bit. And then in 3 and 4, I may, cup it a little bit down on the bottom to where you can just rail that bottom. So we're trying to strategically, by track preparation, contain lap times from top, middle, bottom. And that's, I think, a thing that most people don't even kind of get into. They're kind of like, well, how are you doing this? Well, that's pretty much what we do. A lot of tracks have 20-foot run lines. Well, nobody's running on that extra 15-foot of run line, So our track line, we're racing all over the surface. But that's kind of what we do. And then I can add, take away, bank. I can on the top, middle. I can cup the middle more. So there's a lot of things that you can do to really change the whole shape of the track. But it's kind of like off-road. If you run on that same off-road layout for month after month, you get bored, and that's what I don't want to happen here. Is I want to keep you guys on your toes. Not only in a situation in here is if it's dry slick or tacky and fast, I want to keep everybody on their toes to where they learn to tune their cars quickly, because that's what's going to make everybody a better racer. I think we've seen that firsthand. These guys in here, everybody that comes in here just thrashes, and they kind of know what to do to their cars, and it forces them to learn. Because if you're going to keep up with Joe over here, you're going to have to make your changes and keep on pace with him. So, it's that type of thing is what we're looking for mostly. So,
and I think that's a great point, because rolling off of the heels of the Chili Bowl, right? If you start looking at the rundown of the A main, B main, C main. I mean, there are significant percentages of those fields that I would call PT's regulars. I mean,
yeah, super proud of them guys rolling out there, because, the group of, and a group of drivers, really what makes a track. It's not the track itself. I mean, we've got a fantastic group of guys, and they work together. That's a very important thing. There's a lot of information shared between drivers in here, and they work well together. But then they are fierce, man. We got some fierce guys for competition rolling into this place week in and week out, and it really humbles you when you sit back and you think, man, I got fourth in the freaking D main. Well, that's not bad, if you look who you're racing against. So, but super proud of everybody that went out there, just seeing what they did. And they're just class act people too. They race you clean. And I think they're very proud of what they're doing out there. So, and as well as they should be. So, pretty cool, seeing those numbers and stuff out there. They really made everybody back here, all the tracks around here, proud. So,
absolutely. And one of the things, I know you and everybody around you are incredibly humble people. So I'll talk you up for a minute too. I mean, it doesn't need to be said hardly at all with how great PT's is, but one of the things that, when you talk about the skill level and things of people that are at that track, one thing that you didn't touch on is the responsibility that I'm assuming that weighs on your shoulders on a weekly basis. I mean, yeah, you're in Bloomington, Illinois, but you've got Iowa, Indiana, Kentucky. I've been there when there's been Tennessee, Wisconsin, Michigan. I mean, you have people that are driving and spending hard-earned dollars to find hotels for a club race to come and race with you guys. And I mean, that just speaks to the level of unbelievably world-class facility that you guys have.
We appreciate that. I mean, we try. I don't know. It's kind of one of those things that we like what we're doing. We have fun. Honestly, it's getting all you guys in, everybody in. We truly have a damn good time in here. Pardon my French, but we have fun with it, and I think people pick up on that persona a little bit. But on the flip side, we want to see the best racing possible. And you were here and you were involved in it. And well, we had races together a few weeks ago. Man, it was freaking awesome because I seen Sam Johnson on my tail tank coming up. I'm like, oh, it's on. But that's what it's about. I mean, when you're chasing down that guy in front of you, and it's as coming from big cars to this, it's as close to being in a strapped into a full size dirt late model to being on that track when we were racing. I mean, you're inching on people, and it's causing you to drive better, and you're really focusing. So those are kind of the things that me and Paul wanted, from day one. It was just to make as realistic of a track as we possibly can, and I think we've achieved that. I mean, I've seen some of the best, I think, RC dirt oval racing and I've ever seen, and I've raced for a long time RC cars. So, but it's people like you and everybody else that's coming in that make it great doing those things. Driving down here, it still blows my mind a lot when these guys are driving in that far. But then that's also pushed us to be better, to run a proficient show, and I think we run a darn good show on that side of things as well. So, but it's the whole package. But the competition, this year, well, just at any time. I mean, sometimes it's better than others. Obviously, that's the way real dirt tracks go. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes that you're fighting a track, but um, it's awesome. I mean, I don't think you see better racing anywhere in the country. It's kind of bar none on that side of stuff. But I do appreciate the kind words there.
Yeah.
But we
No,
enjoy.
absolutely. Absolutely. So let's take a step back for a second here. You just hit on the big car stuff for a minute. Talk us through Tom Thoennes outside of PTs, outside of RC cars. Tell us a little bit of your racing background, your family's lineage through the sport, and what that looks like from big car to. So take me all the way back, and then let's bring it up to current times.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot there. We I've got two brothers, me and my brother Paul, part of the PTs, obviously Paul, and then we got Tony. We're track brats. I mean, my dad's raced full size cars from, I think, since I was 4 or 5. So we've been affiliated with big cars our whole life, playing with the little cars with Hot Wheels and the dirt at the track, and all that fun stuff, which is uh, great stuff, great memories. We actually started off racing RC cars. So my first RC car was a Hornet. My brother had a Grasshopper. Kind of funny enough, I built my first RC dirt oval track when I was 12 years old. So my 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 dad runs heavy equipment. He was a heavy equipment operator. And I'm just thinking in my mind, I'm like, yeah, he's going to bring home a backhoe. We're going to do this track. He said okay to it, and I'm all excited. So, I'm thinking this weekend we're getting it done. He's like, yeah, you can do it. So I'm waiting for the backhoe to show up. I walk outside, and he left me a shovel to build my first track. So I did. In about 2.5 weeks later, I dug a whole big, about the size of PTs in my backyard bank, the whole 9 yards back in the day. And that's me and Paul's first experience with RC dirt oval with a Hornet and a Grasshopper. So since then, I mean, we raced a lot of RC cars through the 80s into the early 90s. And then we kind of got to that age. We started dabbling with go-karts. Unfortunately, with go-karts for a man my size, it just didn't work out. So that was short. So I got into, me and a good buddy of mine. We got into motocross, and he raced bikes motocross, and I raced four wheelers motocross, and I did that for a very very long time. Was successful in it, real good. I was actually skinny back then, so but raced motocross AMA around here, was really good and had fun with it. Just getting to the point where your brain starts kicking in, like, hey, this is a little bit too dangerous. Um, so I sold it and I bought a street stock, and I raced street stocks for 2 years. Um, Won a lot of races in that, and then I jumped into dirt late models. My dad was ready to kill me when I bought my first late model. He's like, it was just an old junker, I bought cheap, and I'm like, I'm going racing, So, but he thought I should have gave it a couple more years in the street stock or sportsman cars, they called them. And I probably should have, but you kind of want to go full tilt on that stuff. And my dad was absolutely me and my brother's heroes. I mean, he was probably one of them guys for this area that was, um, well, back in that day when he raced, and he's 73 years old and he still races a dirt late model. So just to put that in perspective, which is cool. But he was racing
Absolutely.
Bob Pierce and Roger Long and Tom Reentz, and they're very, very high top profile drivers in the area, and he ran very well with everybody. So, but yeah, I got my first late model. He wasn't too happy, so um, but we ran good for what we had. I didn't have the best equipment, but we had fun with it, and I ran that for late models for quite a few years, and then life happens, kids happen, so you slow down, and one day I bought an A scale late model and went racing down at Big Bill's, and I had a blast, and I drug Paul back in, so we got back into RC cars, and never thought in a million years I'd have my own track or anything like that, but here we are. It's a cool thing. I wouldn't trade anything for the world. We had a good upbringing, fun, taught us a lot of respect, and a lot of aspects for this really relate from what I did in the past of what I'm trying to do now, and in my mind, a lot of the dirt oval stuff kind of got flat. It's like we're dirt oval, we're not off road. Let's race dirt oval and RC car wise, and that's kind of some things. And I make some decisions, and some are good, some are not so good, but you learn, you move on, and roll with it, So, but yeah, pretty fun. Then here we are in RC cars. I'm having a blast. I have a full size late model sitting in my garage right now, but I don't have a full crew, and I really like my RC cars, so it's going to sit for a little bit longer. So, but I don't know. See what happens with that. I haven't made up my mind yet. So, but
Yeah.
don't.
Well, the RC industry thanks you
Yeah,
for parking that thing, I think. So
yeah. So, but no, excited. We got still some great races coming up for the rest of the season. Looking to finish off. We started with a bang. Actually, every race has been great, I think, so far this year, knock on wood, and appreciate everybody out there because, like I said, without our success is your success out there. And we've been entertained. We've seen some darn good races in here. So when it's fun to watch an RC race, there's a lot to be said about that. So, but
absolutely. And the people that are listening that haven't ever seen or heard of PTs, I mean, people need to realize and understand a club race at PTs is I think it's unfair to call it a regional event. I mean, it is borderline a national event every time your guys' doors are open.
yeah,
People need to realize that.
it's pretty humbling. I mean, um, I I gauge things by smiles on faces. I look around a lot. I people watch, and everybody has their ups and downs at a track. Um, but I see a lot of people smiling, and that's really what I gauge things on, and it makes me happy. And we're getting some younger people in, which is really cool. And I gotta say, we've got some what I call freshmen racers, newbies, whatever you want to call them, that are just getting phenomenal. I mean, in a short year or two period, they're really stepping up their game, learning, and I think that's really correlates to a lot of the racers in here. We do get a lot of great people in, like you said, from all over, and everybody helps one another, and I think that's what it's all about. It's just that camaraderie at the track and knowledge and things of that nature. So, but yeah, it's definitely pretty good. I know a lot of people want this or that, but uh, in general, as far as like races, um, I think uh, when they come in, you can race all over the track. You're not just in a 12-inch groove. I think people appreciate that a lot because they feel way more comfortable. You know what I mean? Um, I think that has a lot to do with it as well as just race surface and things of that nature. And there's not as many indoor dirt tracks, as there are. So that has a lot to do with it as well. But we'll take it any way we get it. So we have
Yep.
fun.
Yeah, and as a racer and as somebody who tries to get over there and race with you guys as much as I possibly can, the in my mind, the way I look at PTs, and this is just from my personal perspective, but I truly look at PTs as the racing and the racetrack is almost a side effect of how you guys actually run the entire facility. Because I mean, I've been there. I haven't been there a lot, but I've been there enough to gauge the lay of the land now, and it's I have yet to be at PTs or at a race day period at PTs where you guys there's drama or where there's never any tension in the air. The tension is the competition on the racetrack. Every person there wants to do good,
Yeah.
but there's never like, stuff's going to happen on the racetrack. Stuff happens. It sucks. Everybody's pissed. You get pissed. You're on the driver's stand, whatever. But it's one of the only tracks I've ever been to where it seems like once you step off that driver's stand and you walk around the track, you walk up onto the track and go to Marshall, it all just kind of fades away because you realize once you step up onto the track just how lucky we are to be in this facility and be doing what we're doing. And it just you guys have built an environment to where it just feels different, to where it's truly the drama just melts off of the room. There's just and it's a one of a kind experience, and it's in my opinion that's what makes PTs so special.
We appreciate that. I think a lot of guys are afraid of me, but I'm a big teddy bear, actually. No, but you have to take your, hey, these are my buddies, but then you have to cut some of that out, and just let them know I'm not tolerating this, and it's respect, actually, is what it is. The people respect us, and we respect them in return. So, but yeah, other than the fierce competition part of it, which there's enough of that. I mean, it's serious stuff when you hit the track, but everybody is real respectful, and I don't know exactly why, but I appreciate everybody for that, because that's really what it boils down to, and I don't know, I don't know why that is, but it's definitely fun, and and people like yourself and a lot of the guys, that do come in acknowledge that, our hard work does pay off. It's kind of like the field of dreams. You build it, they'll come. So, but I don't know. Definitely a track where I do see some people struggle at a lot and some don't. And it's kind of one of those things. I think once you get your bearing around it and get rolling, you pick it up pretty quick from that standpoint. But it's tough when it's kind of like when I did race full size cars. I mean, I raced predominantly at Fairbury and Farmer City, and I'm a kid with a cheap car and a little motor compared to everybody else. And when you go in the Fairbury and it's the Summer Nationals and you got 70 of the best dirt late model drivers from the country there, back in the OG days, I don't stand a prayer to them guys, but I actually ran fairly decent. And I was proud that I raced the fastest guys in the country, and I was okay with that, and I learned and picked up things and went from there. So it's kind of that same vibe, I think, in here as we had at Fairbury as we were growing up, so Fairbury's, I'd say, our home track, for us in the big cars, and there were some awesome people, that we hung around with back in that time frame. So we kind of feel that same vibe here at PTs. And so it's
Yep.
cool and
Yeah.
humble, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, and absolutely, and I that is the perfect analogy for anybody who is into the big car side of things. PTs is the Fairbury of RC cars for sure. So if there's never been a more true comparison there.
yeah. So, but we
Yep.
have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So take me through as again as some people maybe they're hearing this for the first time and man I got to get to PTs now. When they pull up, the family business is right there. Where I mean you're attached to where we're racing. Walk us through a little bit of the just a brief what the family business is and how what had to change within the family business. I'm assuming where the racetrack is used to be warehousing or something for the
Yep.
business. So what kind of what shifts and what mentality had to happen to get the track built?
Kind of a funny story all on its own. our heating and cooling and fireplace business. I have actually worked here for 38 years. So I basically worked through a co-op or a work program through high school. I jumped in here during high school years, sweeping the floors, doing all that stuff. I've been here for 38 years. I wound up buying the business. At that time prior, we were just a supply house. So we would have this whole end of the building where PT's currently is was loaded with fireplace inventory and furnace inventory and air conditioners. So in that time frame, right before I took over, we started doing installations. So the wholesale side of things were kind of like everything in America. It was going big. We were a mom and pop wholesaler. So we went more into the installation side of things. So we didn't need the warehouse space anymore because we did, um, fewer systems. We weren't supplying to all the contractors. All the big chains kind of rolled into town. So it opened up a big area. And it's kind of odd when I was a kid working here, being a good friend, my motocross buddy, one of my best friends, we always talked about having an off-road RC track or some kind of RC track in this area, and here it is. But oddly enough, my brother Paul, he worked here before I did, and then he left through the co-op program, went to college, and then that put me in the door. Next in line, I got a job here, and my little brother did the same thing, Tony. True family business now. We're fortunate enough to open up the square footage to allow us to have a track. And I don't know, we kind of went gusto from day one. I mean, I do remember having a conversation with some people down at Allen's. It was one of Allen's, or some of the last couple of years, Allen's was still open. And we told some people that we were working on doing an indoor track because we didn't have anything in the area for indoor at the time. So, um, and when we first started, to be quite frank, this track was flat as a pancake, didn't have any character, but a lot of the guys still came in at that time. So a lot of the guys have been here from day one, and we're real appreciative of that. But then you kind of build on it. You take advice, you listen to people, and you build it up. And over time here, it's kind of weird. It hasn't been that long, but it seems like a long time, but I think we've been open for 7 or 8 years. So we have grown and changed a lot in that time frame. There's every year I get these crazy ideas. I want to improve this. I want to do that. I want to, make this better. I got all those ideas still rolling through. So, it's just kind of stuff like that. You just build on it, and a lot of these folks have come in and helped, it's been great to have them, racers and participants come in and help on certain things over the years. So it's definitely a cool process. But yeah, family business started off just all warehouse out there, a lot of space, and always drooled on an RC track, and here we are. So
Awesome.
It's surreal.
So take me through. So let's go back to 2018. You guys just built this track. For lack of a better phrase, you've put your nuts out on the table. You've pushed all of the chips into the center here, and you've got a track now, and it's time for the first race. How does Tom feel in that? What are you guys doing? Is this you're peeing down your leg, or you're so excited you can't stand it? What does that look like? Take me to the first race.
I overplan. I'm an overplanner, so I worry a lot about. I don't want to screw up. I want this to go right. But the reality is, you're going to screw up. You're going to make mistakes, and it's just a matter of owning the mistakes and going on to the next week and making improvements. But I was pretty good on my system. Lap counting stuff went really well. At the time, I had Brad Brucker help me out quite a bit with that. He kind of trained me on what he does and how he was, computer system worked and stuff like that for lap counting, because it was totally green to me. So Brad helped me out a bunch. And then a lot of it is track prep, man. You learn a ton. Believe me, when I tell people we've been open tire, we've tried everything, every tire you can imagine, and we burned a lot of tires off back in the day. So, um, You can ask Ryan Thiedens, you know, but yeah, we went through a lot of learning curves, and finally came up with a pretty good package, you know, to where tire wear is not really an issue. The track surface is pretty good week to week, things of that nature. So, but yeah, there was a lot of stressing about track prep. That's a big part of it. But yeah, we're all flat. I think one of our first years we had one of them crazy Illinois weather swings where it was like -10, and then it went to like 68 degrees in the same week. So I had watered the crap out of the track, and then the temp swung up. Well, the humidity rised, and literally we were all in here racing on a sponge, a soppy sponge. I mean, the track was so hammered down you couldn't walk on it because you'd sink 2 inches, you know. And so a lot of crazy things like that you really got to predict and forecast, you know. And so yeah, we've learned a lot with it, but we've had fun with it. That's the good thing. It goes back to great racers coming in, and we get a lot of new people in every week, and that is awesome. You know, a lot of people from out of states, far and wide, and ideally, we kind of treat it as we are entertainment, you know. So you got to make it a show, you know, and that's truly what we try to achieve with it. So, and have fun at the same time. So, but yeah, it's a lot. I know you're going to have a lot of this coming up. I mean, I think you got some good people, resources in your pocket there, you know, to help out and stuff, for sure. And if I can ever lend a helping ear, or, you know, hand or anything, just let me know. But yeah, there's a lot of curves that go into place on that stuff, and it's it just takes time and experience, you know, and you'll get it. It doesn't take long, but being a track owner, you wouldn't know you'd have to be a dirt expert, a weather expert, you know, all the things to kind of go correlate with it. And, you know, we've had a lot of good people coming in. I think Dustin Malakote came in the first year, I think. And, you know, he helps out a lot because he'll just flat tell you, hey, you got to get better on this, you got to get better on that. You know, as far as program wise, running a program, we would run way long, you know, in the beginning, and you know, it'd take us forever to get through a race. And that's where you learn what to do and how to curb things and make things happen for putting on the show, you know. So thankful to everybody, you know, it puts in an ear. Sometimes that ear gets tingled a little too much, you know, as you got to wear a heavy sleeve a lot of times for this stuff, but some of the things are necessary comments and stuff like that, and it's helpful. So you just got to learn, roll with the punches, and improve week on week is what we try to achieve. So
Absolutely. And that would be something super interesting to know. And I don't know if you guys track it or not, but knowing year over year how many new, like, non-returning customers you guys get, you know. So like, I don't know if you guys keep track of that, but that would be a super interesting number to know.
we know the vast majority of everybody. Obviously, it comes in, and you know, the out of state people that try to come in um, multiple times a year is awesome, you know. And I know it's not easy to travel and it's expensive, as you said earlier, but man, it's much appreciated, and just love having the mix of different people from different areas, you know, roll in here. And I think the draw to that is one, the track shape and things, but then also the people. I mean, we've, like I said, I can't plug on it enough. We got a really good group of people in here, and that's part of it that makes it fun. So, but I haven't hardcore taken notes on that. I know I did talk to Tony from Kempton at Cedar Bluffs race uh, at the Rumble, and he did calculate some numbers. I was more curious about car counts, you know, class wise. And that's some pretty amazing statistics. He must be like some kind of math whiz or something. I don't know, but he pulled that stuff together pretty quick. And it's kind of crazy, just you see what the hot classes are and stuff. I attended to all the tracks in the Midwest here, and it's good information to have on that. Plus, where people are traveling in from all year round. So, but that's a question for him, number wise and stuff. He could probably figure something out. But most of the people are returning customers. There's people obviously that come into this sport and then leave or hobby, they kind of come back and forth. So we see a lot of that, and I get it. That's just life. We all got families and, jobs and stuff to take care of first, and then go play with cars after. So,
Yep. Absolutely, and I'm guilty of that myself. I was in it pretty heavy, and then take a hiatus and then come back. So understandable, for sure. One of the other things I got on my list here is, so not that you guys came up with this formula or anything, but I've recognized it to be more prevalent with PTs, is the money behind winning races, or the paid races. We go to a lot of these races, and it's for a plaque, it's for a nice trophy, whatever. But at PTs, I mean, as you like to say, you guys have put up some cheddar here a little bit, and you guys have really went out of your way, specifically this last race that we had, the Clash of Titans. What is your mindset? What kind of angle are you coming at with paid races and purses behind your races?
well, for the last 2 years prior to this, we did a really good point series. For that point series, we ran 4 races. You got one drop, and essentially, I put up each year. It was around somewhere $2,000 $2,500 on top of what the points fund. But what we did there essentially is we would take $10 out of the purse for each entry fee, and that went into the points fund. So each class, depending on entries, it raised or lowered the classes, and there were some really good purse prizes for that point series deal too. This year, I just wanted to mix it up a little bit and have a money race. Really, the dollars and cents of it worked out to about the same dollars and cents of what I did put into the last 2 years of the point series. But I just wanted to do something else, and I mean, not that I want to see money races. I don't know if money races are good or bad or honest. For the most part, I I was very impressed about how respectful everybody was for a money race. I mean, the racing was just awesome. I couldn't be more happy about that. Um, I think people's persona or attitudes maybe change just a little bit on a money race. It's maybe, I don't want to get it too serious, like you're racing a big car, because that is a whole another level of stress and things that I don't think people really need in this stuff. So, but it is nice to give back. And that's honestly, that's kind of what I'm looking at is the point series was, you know, all right, let's give some of this back to these guys that, like you said, spend their hard earned money driving in here week in, week out. Give them a little cheddar on top, as a bonus. But you got to race for it. You got to, you're racing for it. So, and that was no different with this race. And I know Tony Lingard's done a money race on the same kind of magnitude. I don't know of any other dirt oval race that's really paid this kind of money out. And I was happy the way everything turned out. It's not something that I want, 200 entries for. It's not what I'm going for. It was more of the locals, the people that support us. I want to support them, is kind of what it is. But it was kind of exciting to see, and then see people light up on the stage. And you couldn't ask for a better thing. I mean, it wasn't like one person dominated. It was heavy competition in each class, so it lit me up, excited me, or I was super happy just watching the racing all night long. The late model race, in my opinion, was probably one of the best RC dirt oval races I've watched. They were all good, don't get me wrong, but that race, we had multiple people running side by side, three abreast, swapping positions, that entire race, and it was really good. So, but
I know me personally, I was in a C main or something that was, everybody was calling it the race of the night between me and Andrew Schroeder and a
it,
couple other guys. I mean, it came down to the line there. It was good.
it was really good, and that perfect point. I mean, throughout every race, it was stacked, and it was it wasn't like somebody was just running away with it. It was that you had somebody breathing down your neck the entire time, and you had to race. And that's as was part of what I was saying is as close to real racing as you're going to get on that side of things. But we do get that in there a lot. We see a lot of those great finishes and things of that nature. But track was exceptionally good. I think last race too. That race was really good because the bottom was there, middle and top was pretty racy. So, but
And I think it's really cool too to look at it from the perspective, just the timing of everything and the what guys were doing right after your race. There was several people I know that were packing their car up from your racetrack and going to Oklahoma for the Chili Bowl. So I think of a guy like Jared Howard. He placed in all three main events there. I mean, he's taken a significant chunk out of his bill to go down and race a week in Oklahoma, off of running good at the week before at PTs, which I thought was badass.
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, it's more of helping out, but you got to race for it, and that's kind of how it was. And I think it was pretty cool. I think we would have had more people if it wasn't for the Oklahoma thing, but I don't know that I would have wanted it any different than the way it played out. I mean, it was a great night of racing, I think. So, um, but we've had some real bangers. I think of a lot of things on this. Yeah, I like to mix it up each year a little bit, because like I said, if you kind of do the same thing over and over again, it gets dull or boring, in some senses. So I do like to throw a mix or a curveball in there sometimes, just to keep it fresh and different, keep people on their toes on every genre of it. So, and I think that's what uh, a lot of the drawback is. And there's people who think, he's from goofy on the way he's going to run this race or do this, or it is what it is, but we do listen, learn, and modify or change if we need to. So I think that's the good thing. So believe me, the race will let me know. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, nobody's short on tongue when there's an issue. I'm sure everybody lets you know. So,
yeah, yeah.
so all right, Tom. Well, I got a couple more questions here, and we'll get you out of here. I know I'm taking up your evenings. Uh, one of my questions here is, out of all the really awesome races that you do, I mean, I think if we're gonna call one the PT's race, I think it's now King of Wings. Um, but outside of all that, what is Tom's favorite or PT's favorite is your family? What is your guys' favorite race that you hold every year?
Um, honestly, and this is going to sound weird, just an average club race. I mean, a club race is probably my favorite because you've got everybody in there, all the classes. And like I said, for the most part, everybody gets along really well. If you really sit back and look at life and you look at the genre of people, the walks of life people are coming from and how everybody comes together and relates to this hobby and sport, that's by far my favorite. I mean, the competition in here is great and everything, but I really dig the camaraderie between everybody because you could have people that don't normally associate with one another are doing that in here, and I think that's the coolest thing ever. So just regular club races are probably my favorite. I mean, obviously we inherited the King of the Wings, and I'm very proud of that. I love that race. So there's been some that have come and gone, on these races. uh, I don't know that I have a big race that's really my favorite. But King of the Wings is definitely good. We typically get some good competition in there. Um, Next in line is probably the RC World 100. I mean, we've had some great races on that event, and um, so I don't know that I have a favorite as far as a big race, but average races, club races, they're by far I think my favorite because it's just a cool vibe, a cool feel in here, like you referred to earlier. So, and like you said, it's not lack of competition on them races either. So, uh, it's definitely where I'm at on it. So, but
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then give me a plug, something a little bit new for PTs this year. Tell us about PT's Garage and what that's going to be about.
very excited about that, and I hope you can still make it over. Looking forward to it. I know unknowingly, I planned it on Super Bowl weekend. So, I didn't know that, but we do have a big screen in the pit room, so we will have that game going. And I think we'll be done in a decent time too, so where people can get back to family. But PT's Garage is kind of the same thing. I mean, I think um, new people coming into this, I personally take for granted that when new people come in, I'm like, why can't they drive that car straight, or what's going on with it, and you don't realize that it's just some goofy little dumb thing that's not right on their car. And then, once you figure it out and you help that person and you're like, try this, and then the next thing you know, they're actually like a little rock star out there doing very well. So our whole purpose to it is just to help those new people, even experienced people, that you can learn something. I mean, but a lot of people, believe it or not, I see will buy a used car thinking they're going to get a pristine, perfect car, and that's far from the truth. So this first segment we're going to do, we are actually building a car from start to finish, because I think a lot of people, whether they're new or even seasoned guys, may not know some of the little tidbits when you're building a car to really look at, and how to start from ground zero to the full completed product. Um, we're kind of excited about it. You know, Anytime we can help take out a little bit of the intimidation in this stuff, I think it's going to help, a newer person. And then we are going to post videos and do that stuff where people can refer back to that stuff from each station. And then we will get more into later on into more of the technical aspects of what, a lot of people don't know what roll centers are, and just a lot of different things. There's so much. These cars are so advanced. A lot of people are just intimidated and don't know what to do or when to do it. And I think if we can help, everybody can help out. I think it's a great thing. So, but we plan on getting some shirts made. PT's Garage, so we're going to have them out here one of these days. My cousin Dwayne made a pretty cool logo for it. So we'll have some shirts and things like that going on with it. But I think we'll try similar to what you're doing with the podcast. We're going to try to bring people in and maybe not like a lot, but a few times a year, just bring people in and have some cool things like that to help share. Maybe get some of these manufacturers on board to release products, like the car manufacturers, the electronics manufacturers, radios. But even that in its own, the radios, there's so many things that people don't know about that I even learn. I learn every day, in this stuff, but so many features and functions in radio speed controls that is a game changer that's right at your fingertips that you don't know about. So I think it'll be helpful for many in this type of stuff. So looking forward to that. I think we're gonna have a good time with it. So and glad you're on
Absolutely.
board. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be good.
no, absolutely, and I know I'm super excited for it, and I think it'll be, I hope it's something that a lot of people come out, new and old people into the hobby. I hope it's something that everybody comes and takes advantage of, because something you didn't hit on is it's donation based. It's not like you got to come in and drop a bunch of money to learn all this. It's all
Yeah,
come in and learn.
yeah. And that's the way we will run this through its entirety. I'm not looking to get rich off a seminar, chassis seminar type situation, but and honestly, for a lot of guys that do help in here, I think this is a helpful thing, because if we get these people in here, they make a list of questions that they have, and then we can just try to answer them between somebody, right then and there, and they can take notes. I think it will help. I know for me getting back into this hobby, if we would have had something like this, I would have attended, for sure, because there's so much
Absolutely.
that's changed with technology and this stuff that, I still have. I had a racer over the summer told me something on a radio setting, and I tried it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this has been here the whole time, and I never knew about it. So it's always helpful. So. But looking forward to that, and you never know what we're going to throw at people next. So, but uh,
Heck yeah. Cool, man. Well, that's all the PT's questions I've got. I've got 3 questions left that are Scale Labs questions that are quick one
Yep.
hitters,
Yep.
that I ask every guest, and then we'll get you out of here. So, what is one tech tip or piece of knowledge that you feel like in our RC game that every racer should know?
Slow down to go fast. If you slow down a little bit, I see so many guys, especially young people, but pouring the coals of these things. If they would just slow their stuff down just a pinch, they would go a lot faster. So, tech tip of the day is slow down to go fast. So in my opinion, even myself, the times I want to overdo it or I want to boost it or do this a little bit, I wind up screwing the pooch. So that's
Every
number one.
time.
Yep.
Yep. So, okay, so the next one is, what is one RC race that every racer should go to? If they're just going to go one time, what's one place they should go?
You know, the Chili Bowl's awesome. Definitely, I have two. I mean, so the Chili Bowl is awesome. I actually had a great time at Motorama. Unfortunately, with me, I don't have the ability, and you owning a business, I don't have the flexibility of taking off that much time. So Motorama is a little more condensed show. I think it was 3 days, if I'm not mistaken. I had a very, very good time out there just because there's not only the RC racing, but there's a massive off-road RC race, car shows, vendors. That was a great race to attend. And then obviously I'm biased PTs, so three, I guess, 3 events. So hit the king of wings, people. So
Yeah, I was like, "Come on, Tom, I'm giving you a toss up here. Hit the lob."
yeah, yeah.
Perfect. And then last one is give me 3 people that you think should be the next guest on the podcast.
3 people. Let's see. I would go for. Um, I would shoot up Scotty Ernst. That guy is. I don't know him very well. I've met him a few times, but he's very impressive. I don't know how he can run because I see all these big races he runs. I don't know how a man does it. I mean, he is a freaking rock star on that side of things. Very knowledgeable, and my goodness, can he keep his composure throughout an entire event? I couldn't do that. I'd be somebody ask or say or complain or do something, man. I'd flip my lid a few times. I'm afraid, but yeah, I'd get him on there. I think it's something that he might enjoy doing. But I'd get him on there because he's got more knowledge than anybody from around here on events, and I'm sure he's got stories for days on this stuff for from as many places as he's been. Other than that, I think oh, I'm trying to think of some people would be entertaining. There's a lot of them. Well, I think actually my brother's pretty good. Paul, I'd nominate him. He'll straight up get you rolling. I mean, I have some people are like, man, he always looks mad or something, but he's more humble and mellow than I am. I'm more the high strung one than anybody, but he's pretty good. And then, uh, probably for a third, um, I would pick a newbie, somebody that's got a lot of opinions and super good dude. I'd go for a new person, Darren Fisher. I think he'd crack
Aaron
people
Fisher.
up. He's a good kid. He's a good guy. Darren's super humble. He's one of them new guys. There's many that are going very, very good. He's learned a lot in a short period of time. But that's I would hit Darren Fisher up. So I think that'd be a fun conversation. So
Absolutely. Cool. Well, I've got them written down, and I'll make sure I've got them in my notes. So I'll reach out to those guys, and those are 3 great ones. So, but Tom, dude, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, man. I know you're a busy guy, and you taking the time to talk with me. I know I reached out to you, and you were super responsive. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for what your family have done for us racers.
I
PTs
appreciate
is a world class place, and that there's only one PTs on Earth, and there's only going to ever be one PTs on Earth, and
we,
and
we
from every single racer on planet Earth, thank you. We
yeah.
appreciate you.
I appreciate that very much. And thank you for having me on the show. It was very cool. And I look forward to seeing you here soon, coming up in February for the PT's Garage deal. I think that's going to be kind of something that'll be getting a good buzz. I hope, when we're all said and done, plugging it and stuff like that. So if not, we're going to have a lot of fun, probably have some chicken wings, watching football too. So, all right, Sam.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, all right, guys. Well, everybody, thank you all for listening. This was episode 2 of the Scale Labs RC podcast. Tom Thoennes from PT's RC Raceway. We appreciate you, sir, and we will see you guys in the next one.
All right. Thanks. See you guys.